Hey guys, Simon here with Caddis Fly Shop and Oregon Fly Fishing Blog, and today I'm going to be tying for you a very unique PMD that will be sure to have the pickiest of fish eating. Come on closer and I'll show you what it looks like up close. So looking at this fly, you can see it's kind of funny. It's tied sideways. That's why we call it the side sleeper. If you look at the bottom, it's tied and it looks like a cripple that's kind of like stuck sideways getting out of his shuck. You can see if you use your imagination. Here's the body kind of turning, and then the whole thing rests like this. So if I give you like a bird's eye view like this, you can see the body's kind of wrapping around, and you have the shuck here, and you have more of the nymphal shuck of the fly, of the actual insect hatching out here, busting its way through the front. I also added a little noodle of foam here so that you can see here's the front wing punching out, and then here are the legs reaching out, and this provides a little bit of buoyancy. And we do have a little tuft of natural PMD color dubbing here to really sell the point home that this is the adult coming out. It's still stuck in its nymph, or it's still dragging its shuck, and this specifically is what fish see and want to eat it. So that's why this pattern has been so good for me in the past. I actually developed it a couple of years ago and never made a video on it. So this one has worked for me for quite some time, and I know it'll work for you guys too. So the hook we're using is the Ahrex 524 Super Dry. You may recognize this from the Scud video. This is a really good hook that I like. It is just got a nice shape, and it's good for little dry flies, it's good for scuds, it's good for curved nymphs, all sorts of stuff. It's nice because it's really unique. It's like a very curved hook, which is kind of unique, so that's why I've liked it. And so this is a 14. The 16 is really little, and I don't want to do all this stuff on a 16. And the whole idea of this fly is to give a little bit of that shuck. And as you can tell, the actual part of this fly, if I hold it up here, that looks like the adult insect, is very small, about the size of a PMD right here. This is all just extras, so sometimes you do need to size up the frame, you could call it, that you're building the fly on, which is the hook. So that's why I sized up to a 14, if you guys are wondering, because most PMDs are 16s. So I'm laying down a layer of nano silk, and what I'm going to do now is throw in the shuck, which as always is this EP Trigger Point March Brown fiber right here. And we're going to just put a little bit on, and I kind of do this, there's a little bit different way to do this, but I generally do it this way just because it's less of a pain. I'm going to take it a good ways down the shank here, and then I'm going to trim the excess, and then I'm going to do the same thing here and wrap it up. The way you could do this differently is you could tie it in with the end shooting off for the shuck and then tie the rest up. For me personally, that's too much of a pain to like hold it at that angle, but you can do it like that if you want. It's like save yourself a little step. What we're going to do is build a small base, but what you need to be mindful of here on this fly is where is your body going to start and where is your shuck going to end. So for me, that's about right here where I tie it in. I leave myself a visual marker. Think about how big you want your PMD to be, the actual body. If you're tying this on a drake platform in a larger size, or like a blue wing smaller, just keep in mind how big the actual adult is. So what we're going to do now is we're going to palmer this EP Trigger Point fiber up. And this stuff's really good. It's very waterproof, so this won't really sop up a whole lot of water. So you've got a nice shuck that the back, because it's frayed, will kind of sop up a little bit of water, but this body won't, and it'll kind of really look like it's really attached to the dun that's popping out of his shuck, or the adult, if you're not familiar with the term dun. So now we have this, so we're about halfway done. Next, what we're going to do is we need to tie in the front wing that's protruding out, and our little hot spot foam if you want it. I wear glasses, so I need a little bit of help seeing things sometimes, so I do put this little foam piece in. For me, it helps quite a bit. So what we're going to do here is we are going to tie in a little bit of this. This is the Dunn's wing that's punching out of the front. I like to make it a little bit longer than it's going to be, and I'll just trim it down based on how big the hackle is that I select. So we'll pinch that. Don't want to wrap all the way back to where we stopped quite yet, because we want to leave a little bit of real estate to do our hackle stacking method. And then right here, I have a very, very thin piece of 2mm high float foam. This is Hairline's new foam that's ultra buoyant. Very, very thin piece is what you want here. And again, you can make it really long. The taller it is, the better you can see. But I like to put this over the wing because I don't want the fish to see this. I want them to see the wing first, and this can kind of hide away on top. So once this is tied in good enough, I like to stretch it a little bit and pinch down a little bit more to make sure it doesn't come loose. And now we're done there. So now we do the fun part, which is the hackle stacking. So you can use pretty much any type of rubber leg, but like Uniflex works really good because it's strong. Like I can pull it really hard and it's not going to pop off on me. So I'm going to take a strand of Uniflex and tie both ends in here and make a loop like this. I'm going to tie this in right behind the foam. Just like that. Just like that. And then bring it over to my side. I'll show you in a sec. And this is where I'm actually going to bring it all the way back to the body back here. You can see it's all the way back. And then next, what we're going to do is we're going to take a saddle hackle or a cape. It's got to be a small size. We're going to strip a little bit of the quill. And then this is going to be our hackle, which also will look like the PMD's legs. So selecting a small size is pretty important for this. I think this size is up to be about a size 16, but it's on the smaller side. What we're going to do here is now we're going to wrap it. I'm going to pop this in my mouth to do it quickly to show you guys, but you kind of wrap your way up it like this. This is a little trick that you can use both fingers. It helps a little bit, but you can do it with one hand and it's okay too. Don't need a super heavy hackle on this one, just sparse enough to give it a little bit of extra float. And what we're going to do now is kind of pinch off this. So you have your feather here, and you want to just kind of wrap your thread around the bottom of it, or over the top of it, sorry, so that you're pinching it so it's not going anywhere. And now you can see you have your little hackle stacked up right here, and then you can snip off the excess, those excess fibers down there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take just a little bit of dubbing. This is, I believe it's super fine, but I will fact check it. You can see in the description below. I think it's super fine, called PMD. It's kind of like greenish a little bit. If you want, you can mix it with a tan, but sometimes PMDs are kind of like greenish right when they pop, like a kind of a green yellow. And especially with this thread, it's going to make it look a little bit more of the right PMD color. So you're going to dub it pretty tight, less is more. What we're going to do now is we are going to wrap this hackle up to the, or it's not the hackle, this dubbing up to the foam. And once it's up there, you want to make sure everything's kind of aligned at the top of this. And then now that your thread's up there, you're going to try not to catch all the fibers. And you're going to, the easiest way is just to kind of pull the fibers back like so, and then get your Uniflex there. And then as you pull it tight, it gets all the hackle right on the top like that. And then you can make a couple more wraps here. And then here's the part where you just want everything to be resting on the top. So if you have to kind of force it and help it a little bit to get it all straightened out, that's what you want to do. I like to do extra wraps just to make sure it's not going to pop off on me. Like that. And then if you pull it real tight and snip it, you'll have nothing left over. And then we can pull this back and do a couple of whip finishes, and that'll pop the wing up. Now you can see the wing is going up as well as the foam. And then we can pull this back and do a couple of whip finishes, and then this is ready to fish. Like I said, you can size this up or down for other patterns. It's not too difficult, but it's a lot of steps, so doing it for like a trico wouldn't be very fun. But all sorts of other stuff it'd be great for. I've really only fished it for the PMD hatch, but I may do it for the drakes next year and test it out and see how it goes. So you can definitely omit the foam, but this is a real great pattern that can save your day when the fish are being kind of finicky and they really, really want a emerger where you can see the body down here that's struggling. Sometimes when you hackle it up, you will have a couple of rogue fibers here, but this hackle stacking method I chose because it rides low. You can see all of this is going to be in the water for the fish to see. So if you're online, you can order all this stuff at caddisflyshop.com. There's a list of links below. If you are local, you can come on in the store and we'll have all the stuff in here for you. Thanks.